Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. We got a couple of alerts that are kind of hanging out there. One kind of fell away already. We just got a new one. So let's go ahead and do the normal disclaimers. Trading foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with foreign exchange trading and seek the advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Today's session is Friday from 8 Eastern to 9:30. So we got about an hour and a half. We'll start with some basics, and then as the day progresses, we may add some extra stuff if needed. This is a live trading room, is for your education purposes only, and no financial advice or recommendations will be given. Any trade that is taken during the session, whether it be in demo or live, is not any sort of suggestion that you should do the exact same thing. Our past performance is not indicative of future results, and don't, as we mentioned, don't trade with money you can't afford to lose, and always work within a trading plan that identifies how you're going to enter, how you're going to exit, what your targets, and your risk management. Al, are you up and running?
I am. Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Go ahead and share your screen. You should be able to do so.
Okay, let me get that set up here.
You should not have a problem doing so today, because I think it's.
And there we go. Here we go. And we just got an alert on the U.S. CAD, and we had one just a few minutes ago on the British U.S. I have the British U.S. all drawn out here. Right now, we're still waiting for it to break out of the bottom. So right now, it's inside the wedge. So while we're waiting on that, we'll go ahead and draw out the U.S. CAD. I haven't drawn that one yet. Even though I had that there, I didn't. That was an old one. And so we're going to go to the, let me get the chart up here if I get the right one.
All your questions, if you guys have questions, please direct them in the Q&A box. It makes it a lot easier for us to actually find the questions and they don't get lost in the chat. If you do, if you are brave enough, challenge is out there and you want to draw a wedge and post a screenshot of it, put it in the chat and we can look at it later on.
And so right here we have 8 o'clock. We had a US CAD ascending wedge alert at 8 o'clock. We're going to draw ascending. We're going to start from the low to the high. I'm going to take my triangle tool and we're going to try and find a significant pivot low and significant pivot high. So I'm going to start off with this one, go up to the pivot high, and then we have a higher low, we have a lower high, and right about there is where I'm going to draw the wedge. We have the BD line with a little hit in the middle, which is just what I'm looking for. I'm going to tuck the C in a little bit closer, and we have the AC line with a hit in the middle, and that's about as good as it gets for drawing a wedge. And that one was actually pretty easy. I'm going to come over here to my 1 minute chart, and I'm going to try to fine tune these lines as best I can. I'm going to bring the D over here to that pivot high and take a look at my other marks of the B. I'm going to move that one over just to snug those angles up just as much as I can. And I'm going to move the A over here. And actually, I can probably move the A up a little bit to this one, perhaps. It's still a little bit of an ascending. We still have the hit in the middle. And now we're waiting to see if this thing's going to materialize. Right now, we're in the middle of the wedge, so there's nothing to do right at the moment. We do have a little bit of a break to the top, higher high, but we still have to respect this D as the top of the wedge. And if we get that as tight as I can, and then, oops, missed it again. Right there. And so what we're going to be doing, we're going to measure the distance between the D and the A, see if we have enough room for our trade, and that's about 16 pips. It's getting close to my minimum, but it looks like it's going to fall within the region. I'm going to be looking at my 3 time frames. I'm going to be looking at the RCS. The CAD's strong, not by a lot. There's right now the CAD and the US are right in the middle on pretty much all of these. CAD's showing a little bit more strength, which would mean that there's a little bit more strength to the downside. If this thing breaks out the bottom, we can be looking at we're going to be looking at a 2-pip region on this 1-minute chart. And I'm going to draw another parallel line to the bottom of the wedge. I'm going to take this and snug it as best I can to the wedge and try and measure out my 2 pips to the bottom. So that's at 71.4. So I'm looking at 69.4, right about there, close enough. I'm going to lock that. And I'm going to make this my sell entry zone. Entry zone for the sell. If it comes into this area and it bases, or if we get a close, it has to close inside this area. I need at least one candle close, and hopefully like a small pullback. Hopefully would respect the top of the wedge, and then we're in the trade. So that's what we're looking at on this one right now. So right now we'll go back over to the US, or the British US, and see where we're at. We're still inside the wedge on this one. And the US has taken a little bit more control, still has control on the 15 minutes. So right now the wedge is still basically still intact. It hasn't broken out. If we do get a breakout on the top, come over here, my 1-minute chart, and we're going to draw a parallel line to the top of the wedge. Bring that down, check the angle is pretty good. We're looking at a 2-pip, so 54.9, 56.9. So I'm going to go up to 56.9. That's close enough. I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to label this the entry to go long, entry to buy, entry zone to buy. We have our 2 zones in, so right now all we have to do is wait. And I'm going to make a little clone of this one, and I'm going to put an alert on. Actually, I'm going to do something different than that. Let me disregard that. I'm going to take a look over here and see where this wedge is, and just see if it comes up and breaks this blue candle up here. If it closes, if we could get a tag on that blue candle, I'm going to go to the bottom of this blue candle right here. Oops, wrong tool. There we go. I'm going to be looking at I'm going to see if we get a break above the bottom of this big blue candle. If it does, that means the wedge is starting to get challenged. So I'm going to just put an alert on this one. Just so that way we can pay attention to that. If it goes, as we come over here to the US CAD, we're going to see if we're going to put an alert on this one as well, so that if we get distracted, at least we have something to bring our attention back to the chart. And I'm going to be looking at a break below this blue candle right here. So I'm going to mark actually this whole little region right in here. If it breaks through that, that means it's coming into our wedge. So I'm going to put an alert on this one. Add an alert. And so now we have alerts, and I'm going to put another alert at the top of this. If it breaks, right now as we're waiting for this thing to break out, I'm going to put another alert on the top of this red candle, because these are some significant points I want to be paying attention to. And there's the alert. So now I have a little region, so that way if we're distracted for some reason, we get an alert, we can come back to it before it's past the point of no return. So, and that's for the US CAD, and then we're going to do the same thing again for the British US. Now I'm kind of expecting this thing to break to the downside, so I just had this set up Actually, I'm going to take this off for right now because we don't really need it at this moment. And we wait. Any questions so far from anybody? And so if you have any questions, put them in the question answer so that we can keep on top of these, any questions you folks might have.
So far, so quiet.
That's quiet. Okay.
We'll go Friday.
Yeah.
Super quiet.
The
Actually,
NZD, I've already taken that for 1.5. It's already come back again. I'm waiting for it to leave the zone again. So I may take that one again.
That was one early. This one that was at 5:45 this morning.
Yeah, early this morning.
I've got this one drawn out as well. Let me see if it comes up here. There we go.
It's in the zone, has strong break. I'm just waiting for another red candle.
So came back down. Nice strong move down. Came back up.
Now it's testing the wedge on the 15 and the 5, whereas we usually go into the 1 minute. This one's a little bit more slow.
And right now it's still showing strength to the US, which means we're looking for it to go short.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to, you could maybe start getting your platform ready just in case this thing decides to break. We have a nice blue candle up here, came up into the zone, red candle. Right now it's sort of giving a little bit of a basing. And all of our moving averages are, now the moving averages on the 15 are still showing in the moving, or the RSI rather, I mean to say, is still showing a little bit of a pullback from the low, but it's still in the 50, 60 point range. We're now getting a little bit of a hook on the 1 minute. New Zealand just flipped over to being the strength on the 5 and the 1, but the 15 minute is still showing the strength to the downside, which indicates to me that this is nothing more than just a pullback. And if we look and see where things, how we have a little bit of a trend from inside the wedge, it broke out. That gives some validity to this trend line right here. And that would be from pretty much this blue candle where before the break to this blue candle here. And so there's a little bit of a downtrend. This has a little bit of support. We have a 62 moving average right here on the 5 minute chart. It'd have to break through that and also have to break through this trend line before it would start looking to reverse positions. We did just get a little bit of a flip on this. And so right now we're looking at the strength of the US dollar, which would be strength to the downside. The dollar is still showing strong over here.
I'd love for it to tag the actual wedge though.
Yeah, which is right here at your 62. 62 and your wedge are right here in line. So if it comes up and tags the wedge, that would be a reasonable entry to get in. Let's move this away until we see about where we may get an entry.
we got that question there. We'll address that after we potentially take an entry here on NZD.
Came up into the zone, and right now we have a nice strong candle coming out of the zone, so everything's moving in the right direction. The dollar is still strong. Still getting some flip-flopping over here on the 5 and the 1 minute. There's an alert on the US CAD, so let's take a look at our CAD. And it's looking like the CAD's trying to break to the downside. This was just our alert marker, so we're done with this one. It's brought us to the attention of it. Still looking for it to break the wedge, come down into the wedge, show a little basing, which means a red candle followed by a blue candle, and then look for the break of another subsequent red candle.
And part of the reason for that little entry zone that Al draws is to give us wiggle room to get by C. That C point has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points off of that. it could hesitate there, just a little bit below our wedge and then bounce back up again. So it gives us a little bit of time to react. Because you're only talking maybe a half of a pip difference. Those lines are 2 pips apart. There's not much there difference-wise.
Scooch this up here a little bit, and we're going to keep an eye on this 1 minute chart. Still showing strength, the CAD showing strength. We have a spread of 2 on the 15 minute. I like to see 3. We have a spread of 5 on the 5 minute, and we have a spread of 5 on the 1 minute. So right now it's showing a pretty good, see how it just bounced right off the wedge. That was our, basically, if you look back here with the, where we drew the original wedge, we had the A was the anchor. Here was the first hit. Here's the second hit. This was the third hit, retesting this trend line. And so we're still looking for dollar strength. And so that would be if the dollar is still strong on the other 2 currencies. Right now, the dollar is showing the weakest on this 1 minute. But if we come back over here, right now, the U.S. CAD and the dollar are right about in the middle of the pack between the 8 currencies that we look at. They're right in the middle. So to get a bounce off of that does not totally surprise me. And see how our British U.S. trade is looking at, see if there's anything going on with that. That's still in the middle range, not doing anything in particular. But it is starting to show some British strength. Let's see how it is on the higher time frame. The dollar is starting to take control. So this, again, it should still be to the short, to the downside, to the short. So basically, we're looking at 3 different currencies right now. We have this was the oldest one. This one was at 5:45 this morning. This is pretty much the retest of the zone. And that's what we're looking at trying to take a position on right now. And actually, we came back in, and we're against a little bit of basing right in here. I would like to see it break the bottom of, I'd like to see a break below the bottom of this blue candle, this 5 minute candle.
And if you look at that basing on the 1 minute, to me, it looks like it wants to go back down. It looks like it's a kind of a bend instead of a base. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to turn over to the bottom side.
We're actually getting a little bit of a basing right here with the, I'm looking at the break below this blue candle, and I'm looking at a break above this red candle here. So right here is pretty much our 2 pip. That's 44 to 42. So right now it's a 2 pip range, and it's looking like there it goes. It's starting to break it down now. And if you're not in it, I'm going to be taking a sell on this one. And so we're going to be, if we got in, slide this over. We got in right, say we got in right about here with a fill. Here's our target right down this area. Here's our target 1. That's our 7 pip target. It came down only, it should probably about 5 pips on the first one. This is be the second. Now go to the next area. We look at our pip lines, see where we could get a little bit of a bounce off of here, which is what we did. But now if it can break through that, then the next area is going to be right down in here. Right now our target's right about in between the 2 of them. Any questions? And so we wait.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game. We spend more time waiting than we do anything else, but that's just the way it is.
These quiet
amount of questions. So, can you show the USD CAD triangle as one? We could take a look later on. Because we're in this trade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to that question.
Okay. Would tagging the 62 and the wedge have a special importance on the NZD USD?
Yes, it would. Because right now all the moving averages are in the correct direction. We have your 62, the 13 is the yellow one, and then you have the green.
It
And
just
so they're all
flipped out. Yeah, your green one just flipped,
oh, it did. You just crossed the 62, across the 13.
but it
But we
almost
still have,
has to.
right, yeah, but we still the 62 is still the stronger of the, and right now the 62 is right inside this little Arcel zone. So it's going to have to get through that. If we get a close above that 62 in the 5 minute, then we're going to have to be reconsidering whether or not we want to stay in this trade.
In addition, look at your moving average are similar on the 15. So you're going a higher time frame. Algorithmic trading, computers are trading moving averages all the time. So yeah, there's a lot of significance to those.
Yeah, and you also see that the 62 on the 15 is now inside of our entry zone. So there's a lot of heat. It's going to take a lot of energy for it to get through both of those. And now you have the cross of the 13 and 62, and it's crossed right inside of our entry, which is this is a good indication that this thing's going to move in our right direction. I'm still on board for this thing to go short. And you can see where it wasn't able to close above this red candle, where inside our zone, this red candle, it came up, it retested right at the top of that red candle. So this is a little basic area. It's just retesting this area before it's going to break down. We don't know it's going to break down. We don't expect it to break down, but the odds are that we'll wait. Just again, this is a series of probabilities. You just weigh the odds, and just based on previous experience and chart patterns, it's a game of probability. And you just have some other things to be able to help confirm or to change your opinion about that. But right now, the dollar is the second currency of the pair. The dollar is the strongest of all three time frames. And all the moving averages are in the correct position, except for this one just crossed, but a lot of times they'll cross. If the 5 comes up, tags it, and now it's still back in the right position. We have a green, yellow, purple, and we have a white, yellow, green. All three time frames are in the same correct order for this thing to be going short. Doing this contrary is this whole moving average, but the whole moving average on the 15 and on the 1 are all in agreement to go short. This one's a little contrary.
It's amazing 2 days in a row have been blasted right when we start.
Yeah.
Kind of like it. There was a while where we didn't have any of that.
Yeah, I really like this. This is nice.
I was a little concerned this morning because it was almost 8 o'clock, and the last alert we had was 5:45.
Yeah, morning. So when you get to learning, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, but right now we're favoring on all the currency pairs that we're looking at: the British US, the US CAD, and the New Zealand US. We're favoring all of those to be going to the strength of the dollar.
What I was just going to say is when we look at that 1 minute New Zealand, there's a difference between what I would call a rally base and a rally. That top has kind of rounded off. That doesn't mean it can't come back up and blast through it, but it rounded off. So it looks like it wanted to fall further down. If you can see a rounded top, it's what I teach my 4th graders. The trend is your friend till the bend in the end. That's a pretty good bend. It's just a kind of a gradual fall over.
This was a nice little retrace of this movie. It had a nice breakout, came back got the rest of the troops, and now it's going to go for the next run.
Where are your fib lines falling by chance? Right there where your supply is. I see one of them. That would be my first. Where's your 5 minutes sitting at?
My 5 minute is right down here,
Further
all the way
down?
down here. Yep.
That seems far.
So here's where all the action was happening, right here at the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Let me double check the setting. Let's make sure that's yes, that's 5.
That's it. Okay. That's nice.
Looks like a long way. Looks like a long way down there, but it's very possible too. That's the next stop. If you look on the fib line on the 1 minute chart, you might get a little bit of a bounce right here on this one, and that's right here at the 66.39 level, which is about halfway to our target. And the next area one is right down here. These should be about 7 pips apart. That's 39 to 32. These are 7 pip spread, and right now the target's right about in the middle between the two. I may even move it a little bit closer. If it struggles right down here in the middle of this range, I'll just get out of this trade. And while we're waiting, let's take a look and see if the CAD is doing anything. The CAD has a little bit of a break. CAD is, again, they're right in the middle. I'm not really liking this because the higher time frame is right in the middle of everything. It's not showing any real definitive strength on that.
And people ask us all the time, do you not take wedge alerts? Absolutely. This would be a good one not to take the CAD too tight. I like this one still.
And the one on the British is still looking okay. It hasn't broken through the bottom yet, so we'll keep an eye on that. I've got that on another monitor I'm looking at. Right now, there's nothing on that. It is showing some strength to the dollar, showing some dollar strength, but it's not setting the world afire. It's only got a 4. It's a 3-point spread. Right now, the British pound is looking to be the weakest of all the currencies, so that's a good sign to go short on the British US. And we'll keep an eye on, someone keep an eye on this New Zealand. I'll take a look at the British US and see what's happening with that.
It's getting close to the bottom.
It's getting close to the breakout point.
Mm-hmm.
This was a nice little wedge it was a fairly easy wedge to draw. And we're looking at a breakout to the bottom, US strength. And again, I like the fact that the British pound is the weakest of all the currencies out there. The British pound is the weakest right now. And the dollar is gaining some strength. So this thing breaks through the bottom. We're going to be looking to enter. See if I can.
Here we go.
There it is. And we're on the 1 minute chart. We'd have a nice strong candle coming in. My stop would be up. I'd be looking at a stop zone up on the top above the top red with this series of red candles. You had 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th with a nice strong move down right into our zone. I'll be looking to make sure this thing closes. Give me a little blue wick. There's our blue wick. Not much of one. There it goes back to red. I'm still waiting. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more depth to it. That's a little bit better. Now, can it close above that wick? Right now, I'd be looking to maybe have a sell stop below here.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we want to do that, we want to do a sell. Put my targets in and do a stop limit sell stop. And we will be looking to have this at 25.16.
25.36.
Thank you. 25.36 is 25.36.5. 25.36.5. I'm going to go and put this right there with that. So now if it comes back down into it, I've got a I'll have an active trade. The fact it's coming all the way up into here, that's right now, we'll just wait and see what if it closes. I kind of like it when we get these nice pullbacks like this because it gives you time to maybe set a sell stop in. If it breaks through, right now it's sort of basing on this 1 minute. It's in a very tight range, 39 to 36. It's only a 3 pip range coming up right up into the moving averages. And this is a British US. Still waiting to see a close. Still want to see another close into the zone. And if it doesn't, we just saved ourselves some emotional inventory.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
And
British
the
pound.
Kiwi's just sitting there too, by the way. It's kind
okay?
of falling apart, but it's not doing much.
There's a nice little move, and we're going to sell.
And I'm in too. Nice.
Nice move down. Can we get our 7 pips? Protect, and let's put this back to take profit of 7. Bring that up there. That way we're all set to take profit on that.
Can y'all hear my computer doing all that noise?
Yeah.
Turn that off. I have to find out how to turn that off. All that is setting targets and stops.
Yeah, it's not all trades that he's taking. He's not that crazy. He's a little bit crazy, but he's not taking that many trades.
Yeah. I'm just moving and shaking stops and targets.
And it's just about ready to come into our, see if we can get a target on this one. I'll show the Fibonacci tool. It's right here. There's a blue line right there, and it's coming right into our target zone. And one more little push. And right now it's right in the middle between those two, that blue and that red line. And it's stalled, and see if it gives it to us.
Well, we just hit the fib. We closed below that fib blue line, so that's a good sign. That doesn't mean it can't go above it, but that's a good sign.
We're still looking at our target. A lot of times you'll see when you get these fib lines like this, a lot of times it'll stall right in the middle, which, as Brian found out through some of his back testing, is that if he gets a 7 pip target, a lot of times the next one's going to be 12. You can oftentimes get to 12. All the moving averages, the dollar is still strong on this. If you look at the other time frames, the dollar is, you have a nice 5 pip spread here. You have a nice 6 pip. When you get, when the currency is all the way down to 0, you know it's the weakest of the bunch. And if you're showing some overall dollar strength, with especially ones that we have the alert on, that's a pretty good indication that you might be in the right direction if you trade to the against the British pound.
Did you take your target?
I did.
Okay.
Actually, I got out. Yeah, we got the target, and my target filled here on my. I did take a live, but I also showed it on the demo here, and that did just hit the target. And this thing could keep on going for a while. Let's go back to.
I'm done.
Now let's go to the New Zealand and see
Except
where
I'm
that
still
is.
in one trade. Excuse me.
This one's still struggling a little bit, but everything's in the right direction. We're still showing New Zealand weaknesses. The British pound was the weakest of the bunch. New Zealand dollar is the second weakest. Again, we're still trading to the strength of the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't made our target yet, but let's see, how far away are we? We're still about, we're still a couple pips away. We never checked the news yet today, did we? I don't think there was much news from what I saw earlier. I don't think there was news we have today, July. Let's see, this is not Thursday anymore. It's Friday. And I'm not seeing any red folder news announcements here, so that's a good thing. Nothing, no earth shaking about that. Let's see, Ruben S. on the US CAD 5 and 1 minute 62 EMA is above the candles. And we're going short, so that's a good US CAD. Okay, US would be strong. How's the where is our US CAD here? Someone keep an eye on that while I check this. US CAD. See where our 62s are. So right now in the US CAD, the candles are above the 62. Again, it's showing US strength. And we don't have them all in the right order here. We should have it orange, yellow, green. The green and the yellow haven't flipped over here. This one's on the US CAD. We have the 62 above this and just came up. You can see we're on the 5 minute 62. This one came up and crossed it, checked it, couldn't hold it, came back down. Now it came up, checked it again, couldn't close above it. So right now we have a little bit of a, if you're looking at a trend marker, we're still inside the wedge, but we have a low, a lower high, a barely lower low, lower high. Now we're still waiting to see. I'm still looking for, and right now with this, if you look at this, this is what I don't like to do. I don't like taking a trade when this one is inside the wedge, or all of these moving averages basically is trying to determine which way it's going to go. I would prefer to just wait on this one. Wait for it to have a definitive break. I'd like to see all the moving averages being in the right direction when it does. All the moving averages are in the correct direction. Do 62, 13, and 5 on the 1 minute, but that's the 1 minute. And they're not in the right direction here. Here's a 62. The green one's in the middle. These two are out of whack. So right now, I consider this to be a no trade. Not until everything gets to be more in alignment. Let's go back to our New Zealand. How's that doing?
Curious on your 5 minute, are you doing some sort of testing with your hole sitting on your chart too? Are you wanting to see it with your moving averages?
You know what? When I set this up, I didn't get this one turned off. I have them down here.
Trying to curious.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's trying something new.
Yeah. No, I thought, well, I had it there. I didn't. I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm going to turn it off.
You're trying something new.
Yeah. No. It was just. I spent some time yesterday setting up my charts, and sometimes I didn't get everything clicked on and off before I saved it. So that's one of those that didn't quite. That slipped through the cracks, so to speak.
Oh, okay. As long as you're not doing something new.
Yeah, right now I like this. Right now, yeah, it just slipped through the cracks. So right now, all our moving averages are in the correct direction, and we have a nice. If you can see too, I like with these fib lines. When I like seeing, where's the top of my wedge here? Here's the top of my wedge. Here's the bottom of my wedge, and you can see where this fib line, this blue fib line, was still hanging inside the wedge. And so it was bouncing around here. It went up, passed it, checked it, couldn't hold it. Came back up, checked it again, checked the wedge, couldn't hold it, and now it's off and running. And now that's one reason why I like the fact that this one is below the blue and heading towards the red.
Someone said that there was red folder news that we just traded through. Is that?
I didn't see any red folder news.
I looked at it last night. Let me check real quick. Nothing freaked me out. No, not that I see. We have some U.S. consumer sentiment today going on 9 o'clock, but there's nothing today that I see. Not for the pairs that we trade. Pound had something 5 o'clock this morning. They have an EA. The euro is doing an economic summit all day long, though. So it's day one. Tomorrow's day two. So, I mean, obviously that's. Yesterday was our big red folder day. I'm going to demo, guys. I'm at 4.89. So I'm going to demo if something else comes out.
Hey, you crushed it this morning. Well done.
Yeah. I probably should have been a little more patient with the New Zealand. I was in it, but since I already hit 4.89, I said I just take it for a break even.
Yeah, Brian's been on a roll this week. Brian's been on a roll this week.
Yeah, you've done some damage. It's good.
Yeah, it's been good. Been good.
Let's get a little bit more of a push, and we should have our.
I love that angle of the Kiwi, but I just don't know how long it's going to. Although that 15-minute, that was the only thing keeping me in it. It just looks really good.
You see how this thing pretty much stopped right at the 50% market between. If I draw this into a fib tool between here, this red line and this red line, you're going to see it stopped. My target by 50% is right at our, right between that 68 and the 31.
USD CAD just had a really interesting candle on the 15-minute.
Let's see if we can get our target with this before. Yeah, let me take it. Let's check it out on another chart here. Euro yen. Let's see. Let me get the CAD on another monitor here.
You must be on a different day, my friend. You keep on saying that there's news and there's no news. There's no major news.
Right. Let me go dig a little on that, just because
it might be a different day. No, I don't have any filters. It depends what website you're using. They don't always align 100%. So saying, oh, building permits is not red though. That's low impact.
Yeah,
that's
low.
Really low impact. That I don't even look at that.
I hit my target on the Kiwi on demo.
And
that's actually a yellow folder. That's not even orange, to be honest.
Yeah, that's so light that like I'm not even putting any weight on that at all.
And next week is very, very light on news too.
That's going to be good. It's going to allow some of our people that are using the other software to get out of some drawdown potentially just in time to kick off the new softwares that are coming out. I don't know if you guys were on the call yesterday, but if you guys saw that announcement about the 4 new softwares coming out in the next little bit, and one of them's been handling a $500 account, and it's just really promising to not only have to rely on one EA, one expert advisor. You can diversify yourself so that if there is something that happens in one currency market that you're actually trading, it's not going to be a detrimental blow to your account.
I did take one position off on this. I still have one position left. I'm still I'm going to hold off, and if it get down to this green line, which I suspect it might, I'll take out the second position. But right now I'm looking at, I did close out the one, and we'll see if it keeps on going.
New IRIS alert.
Cool.
And
I closed out the Kiwi
and
too.
that's
So
going to be the 845 US CAD descending.
opposite direction. Interesting. So this will go back to Karina's question. Can you show the triangle on the US CAD?
Yeah, we're going to redraw that one.
Yep. That's a great one to redraw, especially with the.
We have this little blue, nice, big, strong blue candle there. I'm just going to take the prop of that, and we're going to take a look at the CAD.
Well done.
I'm out of that one. Let's go to the CAD. All of you are still in it. You can monitor it yourself and let us know what you find out. So here we go. US CAD. We're going to clean up the chart, and we're going to make it this one big. We're going to just take a look at the 15-minute. 8:45 was the trade. Right there was the alert. If I can get the alert to work. There we go.
Like
8:45. It was ascend. It was descending. I believe.
descending this time, yeah.
So this one we have a higher low. So we have a. I'm going to take it from this one. This was a. Well, let's see. If we're looking at today's action, here's the high. Here's the significant low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the high because we're descending. I'll come down here to the low, and I'm going to see if I can find some areas that I like. Now this is where it's tucked in, and I'm going to have to move this a little bit. So we had a high. Here's a lower high. We have a little bit of a trend. We have a little bit of a hit here. I'm just going to start drawing it that way. So it was descending. I don't really like this angle. I actually prefer to see if I can get up here. I like that a little bit better. It's a lot steeper than I like. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. If I slide this one over here to...
We have a rule. If it gets really too hard to draw, stay away from the trade.
Yeah. I'm going to have to respect this candle up here. I'll tell you, we're going to draw it with this. I'll put this over here. Have a little bit of a wick up. I'm going to respect this for a, if this thing breaks this wedge, I'll be looking at this for a target up here. Any thoughts there, Brian or Matt?
I would drill down on your 1 minute to see what it looks like and the actual time on the alert. That's what I would do. Because I think you're going to break out regardless, but I think you can clean some things up.
Let's see, we have the US CAD. Let's see, we have dollar strength. We have a cross, the dollar is getting to be the strongest currency.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a little breakout here. I think we can probably take this one long if it gives us an opportunity. We're going to draw our parallel wedge.
Whole moving average just flipped all three too.
I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah, I'm already in that one long.
Hey, again, guys, there's time in front of the screen that you do when you do draw your wedges. It's needed practice, and if it gets too hard, just avoid the trade. I like this. I mean, I like the overall. The only thing I would do different than Al on this is I would move my B after my A. But it's still probably going to look the same other than having the triangle all the way to the back.
You do it like this one.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's probably a little bit better. And you can see where it kind of broke the top. That was a nice big candle, but this candle started all the way down at the bottom of this. So it certainly did get some power here. Now, right now it's like a rally. It's basing. So if this thing bases, it could go all the way up. It could take this one up. And now it's going to be about, and that would be, if we're looking at our FIP tools here,
At
right,
7 pips.
That's 7 pips. Here's
From
our
current price at 7 pips.
one thing I don't, and we have our green line here. So basically we had the cross, we passed this green line, we checked, we hit the wedge, we're checking. Right now we have a little bit of a basing going on in this area right in here.
I'd rather it stayed low for a bit.
Yeah.
Kind of coil up in its own. You've got, when you have those parabolic moves like that, your price is extending way past your normal moving averages. So the natural rubber band effect is it's going to come back. I would love for that green line, at least the green line, to come into play, which is right now. But I really see that demand zone that's marked with the green and the yellow moving average. That would be the place I would like for it to come all the way back to, and then go back into our entry zone.
Now, one thing I look at this where I see like my AC line, between the A and the C, there aren't any hits. However, if you take the C and move it over to this pivot high, you have your near hit. So here's your anchor, here's your near hit. Now this was after the wedge, but the fact that it helps to make this line valid, I like putting it up. I don't have a problem sliding it over here, just because that was the last. I mean, because this thing checked, but it couldn't hold it.
That makes sense. And you're only talking 1 minute.
Right, and now I have a more valid trend line. So I don't view the trend line being valid as a trend line until I have some way of getting a hit or a near hit somewhere in between the 2 points.
And back when I was a young wedge trader a week ago, as soon as it broke that wedge, I would have been, as soon as I broke that wedge on that C point, I would have already been in. But I found through time and watching that, nah. So I'm not quite as aggressive. I'm getting bored more with the strategy, which is a good thing for me.
And one thing I like is the fact it's coming in and it's coming in and it's testing this green line that this one came through, blew right through it. Now it's coming back to retest it. Our strength is still to the, let me see what it is over here. Strength is still to the dollar. Dollar is first per currency of the pair. Dollar is strong. We're looking at this thing to go up. Right now I'm looking at this as being a pullback, but we don't have any confirmation yet. Our whole moving average, we have 2 of the 3 are green. The dollar is still, even with this pullback, the dollar is still showing strong. Here's the test of the green fib line. So we had a pass, came back, it's checking it again. All our moving averages are in the right direction on everything but this one. This one's not right. This one is still, we don't have the crossover of the green and the yellow yet. We did get the bounce off of the 62.
You're not even 1 pip apart though on that 15-minute. You're a pipette.
Yeah,
You're
right
5
here,
pipettes away.
Even like a half, more like a half a pip. So this thing's the 13 and 5 are just about ready to cross. We came down. We had a nice bounce. Well, I can't say it's a nice bounce, but it's a bounce. The green fib line held. So the 13.3578 level is holding. All our moving averages on our 1 minute are in the right direction, and our strength is still to the side of the dollar. And now we wait. I can see on the 15, our RSIs are the 3-period RSI came out of the 60 area. Right now we got 68, and the other one, the 13 or the 8 RSI is a 52. I'm looking for 60 on that one. Over here we have 59. That one's just barely, just about ready to come out, but we had a hook. Again, I'm looking for both of these to be above the 60 mark. I'm looking for both of these to be above the 60 mark. And right now, neither one of them are. It's in the middle, not a trade yet. Even though it has a nice little bounce off of that, that's so good. And so here we go. There we got 66, and this one's about ready to break out.
Pretty amazing, that fib number.
Yep, came right to it.
It's crazy.
And so if this thing breaks through, I'd have to be looking at probably somewhere in the middle of this blue and this red. But again, we need it to break through the top to give us our entry. For as tempting as it may be to take it right here, I would urge you not to do so. Because it's just not quite there yet. This was a nice candle, and actually this is building like a little sub wedge right in here. But again, it's still inside the wedge. The wedge is tight enough. There isn't that much room on it, I don't think. Let me see. From there to here, that's only a 10 pip channel on your wedge. That's not a, that's a, when it's that tight, you don't want to be taking it inside the wedge. Because that way you really kind of want to have you want to be able to have your stop pretty close to the other side when it breaks. It's just as important to know when not to get in as it is to know when to get in. For the RSI, I see, Christine, for the RSI, you want the RSI above the 60 mark, the 60 range. Here's the 60 range, here's the 40% of the RSI move. So we have a 11, a 40, 60, and 89. I want to see them come out of the 60, both come out of the 60 with both of them pointing in the right direction. For the short side, you want to see them both come out of below the 40. To go long, you want to see both come out above the 60. When they're between the 60 and the 40, I consider that to be a no trade, at least not yet. That answer your question there, Christine? Okay.
That spread is just so tight on the RCS.
How do we do one more? How's that New Zealand? Oh, let's see, where's the New Zealand at?
I'll look at it real quick and let you know since you're watching.
For some reason, my charts are taking a long time to repropagate when I click on them.
It went to target and it's kind of slowly retracing back.
Okay.
The pound US, I got an alert on that, didn't even know it. Had a great fall away. Of course, it's kind of now flattening out again.
We get another alert on pound US?
It wouldn't surprise me if we get a new one. It would be a descending wedge, but to me it just looks like a basing at this point. Quite the move though. About 25 pips from entry. Pretty good. Good move.
Yeah, I had 2 positions in that one, so I was able to stop trading for the day at this point.
I wasn't expecting it to break below a trend line that I had drawn, but it broke it, went past it. Now it's retesting the bottom of it, so that's pretty cool. But I'm out too. I've closed my platform up. That way I'm not tempted.
Any trade I take from here on in will be in demo. I've made my daily target today, and then some.
Yeah, that was a quick. This is a quick morning,
day.
guys. This is really, really good for a Friday. We're ending the week really strong. I think this week was just phenomenal.
Christine, never apologize for asking questions because you're not the only one. You keep asking questions, keep taking notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots and lots of questions. Lots of questions, and that's how you can move forward, right?
And Jesse, yes. The last 2 days have been kind of crazy. We've walked into active trades almost immediately from beginning. So, being that you're a newbie, normally what would happen on a day-to-day basis, we have 5 of them, 5 morning sessions and an evening session. Normally, each of those sessions starts with about a 30-minute to 45-minute just basics only. But we normally aren't sitting in trades immediately. So
And we're just
yeah, it's
about to
newbie
break.
friendly.
We're just about to break the into our zone.
Good move.
Came up, tagged it, still can't hold it. Right now, I'd like to see it close above, well, basically right, pretty much. We have a, we just hit, this is a brand new 15-minute candle. It's only less than a minute old. So this could be the beginning of the 15-minute move on this. Let's take a look at this.
Oh,
Rejection.
at least for now.
At least for now. But you see these are coming out. This is what we're talking about, Christine, is that they're both above the 60, pointing in the up direction. This one's coming up to the 89 and it's starting to hook already.
Now, Al's always talking about looking left. This is happening. This current price is happening exactly where we expected it to happen. This hesitation is nothing new. You got a pivot where his A is, and you got a basing right below that, and then you have a basing again in the middle of our wedge, and then now we're having a basing again where the current C is. I mean, this is just normal, so that's why we're waiting for it to break. But it's going to be a battle.
And if you look and see where we do not have a close, this candle right here is the same level as this. You see where it didn't close above here. I'd like to see it close above this area right here, which would put, if we get a close, and this is one reason why we say if you get a close in this zone, we need to get a close. One reason is because we needed to get it closed, get some confirmation that the sellers are done, can't win the battle anymore, and then the buyers take over. Another rejection right there.
Rohan, I see your hand raised. If you have a question, just put it in the Q&A or the chat. Either way, I'll watch for it. And I think next week Al's going to try some different stuff with the raising hands. Al, did you see that hand raised there?
That would mean I'd have to look at that, and I say.
Or you or Matt can see the hands.
I didn't see a hands.
It's down now. So I just wanted to come in. Thanks. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. Ijiro Auvoria? Close.
Ajiro. Ajiro, I think. Ajiro.
Ajiro?
Yeah.
I just want to commend you guys. You can't read this, Al, but I'll read it to you. It says, I just want to commend you guys for the setup you have. I'm really impressed by how it works as well as the explanations you give. How far along are we with the replication of this setting with a replication of this settings with Auvoria?
Sure. Probably the indicators he means.
I sent another message to Sal and Bill last night. I haven't checked my messages this morning, so we'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you're in the Telegram channel. That's the key, because as soon as the arrangements for the various different indicator tools are available, we're going to post the information in that Telegram channel.
Now you can see why I wasn't too anxious to take this right here. Well, that's off the screen, because even if you did, that was at 77. At best, you have been at 81. That's a 4 pip, and now it's even breaking this.
I think we're going to go back down to the blue now.
Good chance. Right now, we're basically in a 1 minute or a 1 minute chart demand zone, and this is 7 pips between here and here.
Yeah, it's not near as big of a move as you think it is.
You see right now our blue fib line is right on this trend on our wedge. This level right here is significant. Just like here's this nice big move up. This is the origin of that move right here, right at the bottom of this blue candle. It's right between the blue candle and this wedge. There were some buyers. The buyers came in. You see where this? See where the D is? It came up, came back down, retested the D. Couldn't come. All the buyers came in right from where the D is to where this little wick is right here. This red wick. That's where the buyers came in. Came back up. Take it. Well, right up here is where the sellers came in. So right now, this is where the battle's raging between here and here. Now the question is,
what's going on since 6:30?
Right, and once this breaks, that's going to mean that the one or the other is, it breaks the top, that means the buyer's won. If it breaks the bottom, that means the seller's won. One thing I do like is that if this thing breaks the bottom, it's right at the blue line. So the blue line comes down, breaks the wedge, comes back, retests the blue line, which would be significant. And there's your 7 pips, and there's your target. There are 2 targets right there.
It's a little cleaner to get down there.
It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot cleaner.
Again, he's talking about when you look left, it's cleaner. So when you look at that D, you see the noise, you see the B noise, but if you look left, even past the triangle and the wedge, where on the screen you can't see, there's not going to be near as much noise.
We see how this blue fib line, you can see where this was tested here. It was tested here. It was tested here.
I was kind of hoping this would break down because it's very noisy on the upside.
Yeah. That's our British pound doing.
It was that 20 pip move, and it was basing there for a while.
Boy, my computer's slow today. I might have to reboot again. See, nice big candle, nice red candle down, came back up, retested the 5. This thing could go for a while today. Everything is showing
especially
weakness.
since the pound is so weak.
Came up to the red line, tested it, and this probably could come down. So right now it's trading this 14 pip region right in here. Between this red line, here to here is 7 pips, here to here is 7 pips. So right now it's in a 14 pip range. Let's go back to our CAD. And we back up. You see it's actually starting to have a little bit of a trend in here if it breaks to the top. Again, you can't bank on this one yet. I said once it breaks the wedge, then I'll be looking at a secondary trend to see if it does start to trend into the upward outside of the wedge. Then you can start looking for like a channel where you have an upper limit and a bottom limit, and just see if it can give yourself the chance to see if it stays within that channel. But right now, the wedge is our channel right now. You can see where from the D to the C, actually, this was interesting. This original C was right over here. It came up, and I would give myself permission to move over to, because that was the 3rd hit. But now it's like you had a high, you had a low, you had a lower high, you had a higher low. Now you had a higher high, higher low, higher high, but not significantly higher, but just enough to get you interested. But it did chew up some more sell orders here. And now you have a little bit of a trend going inside the wedge. But again, this is only a 10 pip region. We're only looking at 10 pips. I mean, here's 7 pips and here's 7 pips from here to here. It went up halfway, so it can't break through this area. At least it hasn't yet. Every time it comes up here, the sellers come in. Every time it comes down here, the buyers come in. And the buyers are coming in a little bit sooner than the sellers are. So the buyers are really actually starting to gain a little bit of strength. If this thing does break to the top, my first level of this would be, if it breaks to the top, this is going to be the beginning of my stop zone. Because it has nice long candles coming up. Right now, it would have to be down here until we get a break. You see, it came up here. It took out this. This was a higher low, but these sellers took this one out. Again, you're on a 1 minute chart, so you're seeing every little tick that goes on. Go to your 5 minute chart and you see where it's got a high. I mean, it's very wicky in here. Right now, no real confirmation for the trade. I do like taking the ranges on the 15 minute just because it's one, that's the time frame that the wedges are drawn on, but also gives you the areas where you can see where your target zones are. If we can get a close up in this area, the next it's got to break through this because there were still sellers up in here. This was the main area. If this gets broken, this will probably be tested. So right now it's really, if you look at this 15-minute chart right here, you had a nice blue candle coming up. It broke out of the bottom of this, came back up and it's retesting. But here was from the high here, it came down, it dropped, it based, it dropped, and now you can see this retesting. It's really, what it's really doing is retesting this base right in here. Now, can we get it close? We're starting to get it, it's starting to break now. We have a 3-point spread, 3-point spread, and this one is showing some strength. The our RSI 75 and 55, 68. So we have all three of these are out of the blue, or out of the 60 area. Again, here's our wedge. Now the question is, can we get a close in here? And we're going to be looking at the strength of all these of our Magellans down here. Dollar is still strong, so you don't want to be right now. You do not want to be taking it short with this type of strength right now.
Mm-hmm. It's just really range bound for now.
It's very, very range bound.
You don't want to take it short or long at this point.
No. And we're 15 minutes from the opening of the U.S. market, so you may you may start seeing some action with it just before the market opens. But being this close to the market open, a lot of times you'll get whipsawed when the market opens. Everybody they suck you in and then they reverse positions on you. If you're not in the trade at 9:30, you may want to wait till give it a few minutes, at least 5 or 10 minutes after the market opens for it to settle down before you take a trade. Let it reset itself.
So GBP USD is coming back up for a nice retracement. So we'll see what happens there.
And if you look over here at the 15-minute chart, you see where this nice move came up, came down. This is where it's been retested. This is where our wedge is. So again, you want to make sure that you get a close at least below where the B is. You want to get a close.
New IRIS alert.
All right, just before the open, just before.
Yeah, exactly right. Looks
Aussie
like
US.
Aussie US descending.
Let's go take a look at the Aussie US.
You have US CAD. You have the alert on that, or you want me to watch it?
Go ahead and keep it. Yeah, why don't you watch it? Yeah, I didn't put it. Actually, let me put an alert on there.
You don't have to go to your Aussie. There's plenty of time.
Okay.
And I got it on. I can watch both screens.
Okay, Aussie US. Here we go. We're going to start with a clean slate. 15-minute chart.
And Al, remember you have some newbies, so this one might be a great one to just carefully go through how you draw that wedge.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do that here. So this was at 9:15, I believe, and it was descending. Okay, Aussie US 9:15 descending. So here we go, Aussie US. I'll start with my 15-minute chart with a blank chart. Bring it all the way over here so we can have a good look at it. And it was, I keep forgetting, descending? Descending, yep.
Descending, yeah.
God, my memory, I have a great memory, just not very long sometimes. Okay, so I'm looking back at where the session break was. This is still morning session. Here's our high, here's our significant low. I'm going to start with the descending, so I'm going to start off with a high. I'm going to take a look and see where is the significant low at this point. I'm going to take it from, I'm going to give it a little bit more room. I'm take it from there, come back, tuck this in, bring this thing down. And I don't really like this one that great because it's a lot steeper than I want, but let's take a look and see what it looks like on the 1 minute chart. So we have an anchor, we have a hit, we have an anchor. That's as close as I can get before the wedge, before this big drop. I don't want to take it into here. I just don't want to do that. I like to give a little bit more room, check and see what my range is. Right now, I'm particularly interested in the CD range. That's 13 pips. Not a great range, but it's tight enough to where you don't want to be taking any trades inside this thing. Let's go over to my 1 minute chart. And we're going to tighten this up a little bit. See if we can find another area that might be a little bit better to take a look at.
Your US CAD is also at the bottom of your wedge at this point, getting for a breakout at the bottom. It's right at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm looking at this area right in here. I may just be willing to bring this thing down some. Take that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit tighter than I would normally make it, but I'm going to bring this all the way down.
And we just broke the US CAD bottom.
Ooh, okay.
You're now past your wedge, and it's rejected it and back into the wedge. And it's got something happening big time there.
With the US CAD?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Big movement.
Okay, so if I look at, well, I'll tell you, this one is kind of all over the place here. Lots of drop, basing, drop, basing, drop, basing on this 1 minute. I'm gonna have to still stick with this. Oh boy. This one's a tough one. The thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at this bottom over here. And so it broke that. So I'm going to take it, but I'm still going to have to, I'll take it like that, but I don't really like this breakout on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to note this area right here.
Remember, if it's hard, don't take it out.
I'm gonna go. I'm still taking it up. I'm gonna note this, but I'm gonna move this back up.
Kind of looks like the same picture we just drew.
Yeah, I mean, I want to respect all. I mean, we've got so many of these little drop basing, drop basing, drop basing, all the way down here. I mean, it's like red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, all the way down. I've got to stick with that with a significant one, the significant area.
We're going back into the entry zone to short for US CAD again. I am setting up my chart to take a demo trade on that.
See how high this one, what the range is on this. See where my fib lines are. See the so this is a significant fib line there. Okay, I kind of like that. I'd rather see this thing break. See, this is being respected. Yeah, I don't like it. I just don't like this. I would not trade this. Not with this alert, because it's this is too steep, and there's just, you only have 4 pips between. When it confirms here, you can be running right into this area, right in this area right there. I actually like this a little bit better, all the way over here. Bring the C up. I kind of like this a lot better. This just a little bit better. Here's a little violation. Here's a C, and then looking at this, I like this a lot better. It's not as tight, but I think it's a lot safer. I can work with this one right here, the B. That's the way I'm going to draw this one. I'm going to keep this. Yeah, this is the way I'm going to do it, right? Because you only have 7 pips between here and here inside. You're only looking from the bottom of the wedge to the top of the wedge. You're looking at probably less than 10 pips. Right at 10 pips, 11 pips. I want to see one of these fib lines inside the wedge that can violate it so that I have room to the upside. And right now, if we break the wedge, it's going to have to get through this little level here. But none of these have been really all that strong. That's the way it's going to be. I want to see it be able to break, but I still have room to get to R7. Now, did I totally confuse everybody?
No, that's just a really hard wedge, Al. That's not. Yeah. That's just a really hard one.
I don't like when you get the alert when there's such a really strong steep without any real recourse.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I.
I like your bottom. I mean, I like the bottom of it. I mean, that to me is very, very clear. But your top's not. It's the same picture with the US CAD. I mean, you had that strange, all that grinding basing above the wedge.
Let's see how ours. Now, we do have Aussie strength. We have Aussie strength. We have Aussie strength. So we would be looking for this thing to break to the upside. So if this thing does break, plus, see what you have this 62. This right now, all the moving averages they're kind of out of whack. It's got to get through the 62. Let's take a look at the moving averages on the 15. Again, it's going to hit the 62. These are still saying it wants to go short, but I mean, it could change. I mean, right now the 1 minute is the only one that's confirming strength to the upside. But if it does, it's probably not going to be. It's probably going to be fairly short-lived. Unless it can break through here. If it can break through that, come back up and retest the wedge, I would definitely want to retest the wedge on this one.
I think you did good, Al. I'd have walked away.
Yeah.
I
Well,
wouldn't even have stayed.
well, the only reason I'm staying is for demonstration purposes. That's the
Oh,
only reason I.
absolutely. As my daughter would say, ain't nobody got time for that.
One thing I do like about this, though, is that the Aussie was, I mean, it was a 4. Well, again, the Aussie's only a 4. Now it's a 4 and 2. So it's starting to get some dollar strength. Dollar is the second currency of the pair. Dollar strength means we're looking at to go short. So this could actually be a nice little, I mean, it's so tight, but this could be a nice little test of this before it breaks to the bottom.
CAD is testing your wedge again on a 5-minute now.
Let's take a look at the CAD here.
It's doing some movement. CAD's number 6 on the power strength on 15.
Oh, here we go. Look at
3.
this.
It just tagged the
Yeah,
bottom.
now we have a 3 spread on that. Came back up into the wedge. Here's our, well, remember I said I put my stop all the way down here, but look at here. Right now the CAD is getting to be the second strongest. The dollar is getting to be the 4th. Still, dollar's right in the middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that's weird about this is your hole is green, even though your strength is strong. So I think it could go up a little higher before it turns back down.
But that was a nice violation. It did come into the, but boy, it just went right back up into the wedge.
But what you can't
this
see
could
on
have
your
been the
chart,
head fake.
what you're not seeing on your chart is where that pivot low is also the 30-minute moving average. So I mean, that doesn't mean it won't come back down. It's just that's where it reacted to. So you guys that are watching, you wonder if moving averages really work. A lot of computers trade them, so you just have to be aware of them. I still took it short because I felt like the move was still overall down.
All right, here we go. I didn't have that one turned on. There we go. There it is.
See what I'm talking about?
Came right down to it, right down to the 30-minute.
But that was expected when I entered the trade. I entered the trade on demo short, and I actually added to it just about 5 seconds ago where it hit the tag the white line. I think the move overall is down. I'm not predicting anything, but
well, certainly our RCS tool is saying that we have CAD strength.
Right.
CAD strength, which means looking to the short side. And the other thing is, look, we had a nice little break of the 62 on the 15. Now, the question is it going to close? This one broke, tested, broke, tested. I mean, right now, this thing's been going back and forth. But right now, we have can we get a close below this yellow line? And we did on the 5. We're not, and where's our time on? Another minute and 45 seconds may give us an answer to that.
I don't think we have any conflicts today with anybody doing a webinar. So if we want to go a little bit longer, we can to watch this.
Okay.
But normally your time would be up.
You're the keeper of the clock on that one.
Yeah, that's kind of my job. I get paid big bucks to watch the clock.
I can tell.
Huge bucks. In the form of several candy bars, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a reason why I have a weight problem.
So those candy bars you're making.
Yeah. Nobody's paying in cash. They're just giving candy.
Candy bars. Now let's see if we draw our trend line with this. Let's just say I never did draw that, did I? That's 70, so I'm looking at 68.5, 68.5, right about there. And we're
Eva asked a question too. Apparently there was a Euro US alert that came in at the same time. I did not see it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yes, it did. Oh,
So we
9:15.
can draw that one up. That would give.
Yeah, let's draw that one. That might be
opportunity.
better than that Aussie one. I didn't like the Aussie. Plus, the Euro US is more of the time frame that we're looking at right now. And what was it, ascending or descending there, Brian?
That would be, it is a ascending wedge.
9:15 ascending. Okay, I like this one a lot better already.
Yeah. Thanks, Eva. And a new IRIS alert just came, so let's see what we got here to see if it overrides what you're doing. Ascending US yen, so they're all hitting right now at the opening, so be careful.
There's our wedge right here. It started looking for the, I was looking for a little trend there. There's a significant pivot low, pivot high, tuck it in, stay close to the wedge as you can, bring the D up, and there's our wedge. I tuck the C in over here a little bit closer. Caught that one, and then the D is, let's go to my 1 minute chart. Tuck my D in over here. Tuck my B in over here. And here's our wedge. Check our range. From, let's just go from the D area to the C area. 13 pips, tight but doable. And come over here to my 15-minute chart. I'm gonna check and see where my potential targets are be. Here's gonna be one potential target right up in here. So I'm gonna mark that. And that's the, we had nice, this is the area where this is, if it breaks to the upside, there's not a lot of room there, but there may be a little bit more room if we take it up to this one, which is where the, or this one came up and tested that. Yeah. That's our best, that's the best guess for the target for right now. We do have another one over here a couple of days ago. I'll check that one too. So if this thing breaks, this is the area we'd be looking at getting stalled out. Maybe to my 1 minute. So we have some room here. If we put our fib tool on, we see that we have, if it breaks the wedge, it's going to be breaking the blue line. Here's our green line. Here's our target zone. See how that, funny how that works. These are all 7 pips apart. If we break the blue, we're heading to the green. Kind of like this one, actually. I like the way it's set up. I'm going to get my upper target. Let's see, the euro is strong on the 1 minute. It's probably going to be strong on the others as well. Where's the euro? Euro is number 6 of the 8. It's definitely euro strength. And you would be looking to do not take this thing short. You'd be looking for it to break to the upside. We have a little bit of this was an area where the sellers took over, came back, buyers came up, sellers took back over again. If we can get a break above, we did get a little close above, and see this nice red candle, series of red candles coming down. If we get a close above that, which we did off of this little blue candle right here, as we expand this out here. So the sellers are, or the buyers are starting to get a little bit of control. Nothing to write home about. I mean, they get a close above, you got a close above, still respecting the top of the wedge. Dollar pullback. And we wait. I'm going to mark a trend on the upper part. Trying to get a little parallel. Just eyeballing it right there. That's at 14.29.2. So I'm looking at 31.2. So move it up to 31.2. And I'm going to mark this as a entry zone to buy. I'm going to lock it. And there's our zone. Here's the wedge.
Al, we have to shut it down for our time's sake.
Okay.
So, guys, we'll be back next week again. The schedule will be posted in the Telegram channel. Make sure you're part of that Telegram channel. If you have any questions, definitely get a hold of one of us. We have no problem answering questions behind the scenes. If you want to share any sort of drawing or wedge and see if you're kind of doing it right, if you want to look for that. But it's been a good week. Al, you done good.
Yep. Yeah, it was a fun week, and thanks everybody for coming. Come and join us again next week, and we will continue the education of how to trade wedges with the
Sounds
AIRIS
right.
alert.
See you guys
God
next week.
bless everyone. Take care.